so much. Please. So, we're okay. We'll just share this. Thank you so much. We're great. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for coming tonight. This is a great opportunity for people to hear your story, and we've just seen the film, obviously, and to get another perspective, maybe a personal perspective on your story as it relates to the BIHE. So, do you mind beginning? Maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and a little bit about your story with the BIHE.
Hi everyone, my name is Flora Kia, and I'm from Karaj, one of the cities near Tehran. I entered BIHE, and BIHE was actually the only choice for me to get a higher education. And for entering BIHE, we had to pass an entry exam, so we did that and then we entered. And the whole experience of BIHE for me is one of the most rewarding, the most wonderful experiences in my life. Although, as you watch the documentary, it was very heartbreaking, fearful at times, but it's still one of the most rewarding experiences in my life. I learned how to learn. I learned how to cooperate with other students and professors. And the most important thing for me personally is the power of these innocent people, the Baha'i people in Iran, and their resilience under so much discrimination and oppression. And their hope that we can attain, knowledge, and we can attain freedom of mind, at least, although we were very restricted. So the movie really talks about our experiences. That's how we studied. And because I was not at the capital city, which the classes were held, I was not living in Tehran. Every once in a while, about every month, 2 weeks intensively, we had classes. So we had to travel to Tehran, and the Baha'i friends had opened their houses. Many of them had volunteered to, accept us, and the classes were held in their houses. And many professors, Baha'i and non-Baha'i professors, had volunteered to teach us. So we would go there intensively, study from morning 7 a.m. to 7 or 9 p.m. and then we had to go back home. So as you saw in the movie, we had to get on the bus and go back home. And the process of assignments, would take so long, and the exams were also held in the Baha'i friends' houses. Yeah, that's basically a gist of my story with BIHE.
Thank you very much. And Leila, tell us also, what did you study, and how did you study, and what was your day like, and how did exams work, and some of those questions. I'm very interested in those specifics, as well as your story.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. And the video really says it all, and it's the story of our lives. And there's nothing more to add to it, but it's just a personal experience that we've had. I entered BIHE in '92, and I studied civil engineering. And when I graduated from high school, most of my friends, they were all in good grades and all good students, so they were all going to the regular universities in Tehran. And they were all, encouraging me and were wondering, why am I not, going along with them? So, but that was our only choice, to go to BIHE, and I don't regret that at all, especially now that we watch this. It's all to be proud and honored, really, to be part of it. But it was a journey. It was hard. It was difficult day by day. And since I was like 92, a long time ago, At that time the classes were not as often. We had like gatherings every 2 months for a few days, so we wouldn't see our teachers like maybe 2 times for a semester. So we didn't have that much of opportunity to ask our questions. We would support each other, the students. My friends were all supportive. As one of my colleagues is here, we would study together. We would call each other and ask questions. We would solve all the, physics questions, math questions on phone. There was no internet at that time.
You would cheat.
No, not cheating. Like we were trying to figure it out. As one of the students mentioned, that we would have our questions back. We would send our homeworks to the teachers, and we would get it back too long. We would have forgot all about it, right? And this is one of my, memories that I had this literature course. I had to write an essay, different type of essays they would ask us. And they asked us to write something comic. And that was hard. It would have been easy for you. So it took me a long time to figure out what to write about. And I finally was walking and I saw these, little Volkswagen cars that drive very slowly. So I said, okay, these are funny cars. I write about them. So I wrote about 2 paragraphs about that Volkswagen, and I sent back the homework. So it took long, and I already was, too late for the homework. So the instructor, the teacher, I never met him. He wrote back to me and sent back the homework, and he said, well, I assume this homework came with a Volkswagen. You did great. So I laughed a lot at it.
You realize that by sharing that you wrote a 2-paragraph essay about Volkswagens makes the BAHE look pretty terrible. We just all pretend we didn't hear that story. It's very intense academically. Nowadays, it would never be allowed. Tell me, so, a common question that we've gotten in screening this film is, why is education so important? Why is higher education so important, especially to the Baha'is? And why don't the Baha'is just check off the Muslim box when they're filling out the paperwork to go into university?
Well, education in this age, in the 21st century, is one of the basic, I think, human rights. And if you take it away from the child, it's like taking away kind of like food, mental food, So it's very important. And from the perspective of the Baha'i faith, education is mandatory, it's very, very important. And actually one of the principles of the Baha'i faith is, compulsory education for everyone. And the most wonderful thing about it is that if, in the Baha'i faith, we believe that if there is a boy and a girl, the education of the girl is more important, or should be at first. Because that girl will raise generations. She'll be a mom, and she'll educate others. So education is really important in the Baha'i faith. And why wouldn't we check the Muslim box or other religions? It's because of being faithful to the Baha'i faith. It's something that's connected to the heart, and you can't just lie about it. And yeah, we love I think every person loves what their faith is, and the Baha'is of Iran are very, very faithful to their country as well as to their faith. So checking another box would be like lying, like not being truthful.
That's great. I think it goes, it's important to note as well that it's interesting to think because this has been going on since the BIHE was founded in, this has been going on since the Islamic Revolution. The BIHE was founded in 1987. And what you've essentially done in Iran is you've taken an entire generation of people, and they're not allowed to become doctors or dentists or lawyers or engineers. The Baha'i education, universal education, is one of the main spiritual tenets of the Baha'i faith. It's something that's crucially important to the Baha'i faith. There are countless writings about how important education is, and wherever you go around the world to meet Baha'is, you'll see them involved in education, and in starting schools, and in training children, and all different kinds of virtues-based education, all kinds of educational initiatives. And Baha'is were renowned through most of the 20th century for being doctors and lawyers and engineers and architects, and greatly adding to Iranian society and culture in a lot of ways. So we have some time. I don't want to keep you all too late. We'll keep the evening short, and you've been sitting for a while. But are there any questions that any of us can answer? Yes?
Yeah, I'm curious, with the logistical nightmare you have to deal with, I presume you're getting the equivalent of a 4-year degree that we have here. What's the time frame? How long did it take you to get that degree?
To me, I applied as undergrad, and I was fortunate that they accepted about half of my credits here at the University of New Mexico. So I studied 2 more years and I got my bachelor's at UNM. But that, even for that, it took more than 6 months of going back and forth, and letters that these are not, official transcript that I submitted to them. And I had to.
Yeah, like you started in '92. When did you graduate?
Oh, not that question. Too long.
What year did you?
To me, about 8 years, because I got married in between. But it would have been taken even a little shorter if I had studied more consistently. But I got married, I had a baby in between, so it took me too long. Maybe, Flora, how long it took you? It took me 5 years. 5 years? It took me 8 years.
Some of you might be wondering what can be done about this, and that's a very important question. There's a wonderful website, educationunderfire.com, that has a lot of information around what can be done. Layla mentioned getting her credits accepted. If any of you have connections to colleges or universities, you can meet with the deans, and you can request that the college allow and accept the credits of the BIHE, because what would happen is a lot of Baha'is would come from Iran, and they'd have these crinkled pieces of paper with check marks and stamps and signatures, and it says BIHE, here's a degree, and you walk into a college and they're like, what is this? This means nothing to me. And they call over to Iran and like, what's this BIHE? And they're like, oh, pay no attention to that. And then so they're really screwed over. So part of this campaign has been to actively go to colleges and universities and greatly increase the numbers of colleges and universities that allow these credits to transfer in the United States. We had a very successful meeting with the Dean of Harvard, and Harvard University is now allowing credits from the BIHE, and it's starting in UCLA and a number of places all over the United States are doing that. So that's one thing that's very important. If you are a professor or a teacher, you can greatly be of service by offering online classes. It's moved, the BIHE has moved from being in living rooms and garages and basements, and is much more to being online. And it's very funny because they always need to, it keeps getting hacked into and shut down by the authorities, so they keep needing to move the servers and tell what the new email address is to get on. So it's literally darting around the web. It's like a bunch of hackers having an online university. So my uncle, for instance, is a psychology and education professor in Idaho, and he teaches a course with the BIHE. And the government of Iran cares unlike what you may think, they care very strongly about what the world thinks of them. They may not behave that way often, but there are, you can write your Congress people or your senators and tell them, alert them to this issue. That would be a very important thing. There's also a letter writing campaign on the Education Under Fire website to send letters to Iranian authorities protesting the arrest and imprisonment of the teachers, professors, volunteers that are in prison right now, still in prison, and protesting the shutting down of the BIHE. That's another thing that you could do. Any other questions? You have a question, sir?
In the interest of positive reinforcement, is there any place where you've got a list of colleges and universities that have already accepted the credits from the BIHE?
You know, I believe that information is on the website, and if you write in to the website educationunderfire.com, they can get you that information.
And I had a second question. If somebody asked me to check off Muslim or Christian or Jewish or Zoroastrian, and I said I'm a Baha'i, I'd say all of the above. Check, 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 check.
They should offer all of the above. That would be the perfect solution.
For your first question, that's a list of universities. If you go to bihe.org, that's the official website of BIHE, there's a section, I don't know under which menu, but if you search, you'll find a section that is specifically showing what universities in the US have accepted the credits of BIHE.
Thank you. Yes?
Once you have the degree from BIHE and you continue to live in Iran, what kind of employment can you get?
Not governmental at all. Some friends have some, you know, private businesses that they might hire you, or some private, you know, firms or companies, or some self-employed opportunities, or that's basically it, I guess. Because I studied literature and linguistics. Most of the friends that I graduated with, they are teaching in private institutes that teach languages. So, mostly private businesses.
I want to say a couple other just real quick things. One is, I want to give a special shout out to Amnesty International, who supported this film, and they've supported the campaign behind this film greatly. And it's been my honor and privilege to speak and attend a number of events of Amnesty International. If you're not familiar with this great organization, they really shine a light on human rights abuses all around the world. They're the first ones, whenever there's a human rights abuse, they shine a big spotlight on it, they publicize on it, and they organize people in really positive ways to change the behavior of that government or institution. And so I don't know if anyone's here from Amnesty tonight, but just in spirit, let's give a big round of applause. I think it also bears saying that this is not. I hope this evening in no way was anything against peaceful lovers and believers in Islam, because there are many tens or hundreds of thousands of Muslim friends to the Baha'is and Muslims that allow for different beliefs and different ways of thinking, and have been really supportive. There have been Muslim professors in the BIHE and supporters of the BIHE, and there's been many Muslims that have, there's a whole organization of Muslim scholars that were among the first in the world to bring out attention to the shutting down of the BIHE and draw great, and had petitions on their websites and wrote a letter to the Iranian government and to the Muslim clergy about it. And this really has to just do very specifically with the theocracy that is currently running Iran, and there's no way against peaceful Muslims all throughout the world. So I think that bears saying. So thank you very much for coming tonight. Thank you for your time.